I was 21 years old when I hit the bank's shore of the career. When we landed in Incheon, it was at night. To the north of us was the flashes of gunfire and the war. Somewhere down the road I made some mistakes that didn't allow me the choices to prepare for older life. But luckily I found Avalon Housing.
I seen death. I grew up there because I went over there when I was 17. My experience to realize that life is so important. When you take life from somebody else, you cannot replace it. No matter what the ideology is, death is death, whether it be their side or this side. I can understand where PTSD comes in. I can understand where maybe the general public, when we got home, we weren't accepted. And I can understand why a person would become an alcoholic, drug addict. When I first moved into Avalon a long, long time ago, I was homeless and I wasn't even working at that time. And they gave me the chance and opportunity to get to work, get things straightened out.
So it was a shock when Selective Service said, come on down. Induction station, you in the Army. And next thing I know, I was in uniform with deadly weapons training. More combat scenes than I need to talk about. Fractured skull, shot in the eye, blind in the right eye, destroyed feet. Yeah, I got hurt real bad. So I come here, VA, homeless. I work with Avalon Housing, Catholic Services, got an apartment, got off the streets, and I've been here ever since.
We created Avalon with the mission of developing and managing permanent supportive housing for people with very, very low incomes and people who are homeless and have a physical or mental disability. Almost 20% of people who are homeless are veterans, and they are people who can really benefit from the affordable rents and in particular the support services and the community building efforts that are part of our supportive housing work.
One thing that's important to explain is what makes Avalon Housing different from affordable housing. Their background is in social work, and so they have a very deep understanding of the kinds of issues that our tenants struggle with. And if somebody is behind in rent, they give us the time, they give us the opportunity to communicate with the tenant, get them connected to whatever services that they might need, be it substance abuse treatment, or Gamblers Anonymous, or whatever it is that's preventing them from being able to pay their rent. And then we can actually act as a liaison between the tenant and between the property manager to come up and formulate a payment plan that works for both sides and keep them housed.
Housing is important to anyone, including vets. My home is a point of operation. This is where I run my operations. If I have strength here, I could go out and get things done out into the world and have a central place of information, a place to touch base with employers, doctors, lawyers, friends, neighbors, family. They could come to that one place and find you. Whereas if you were homeless, they'd have to go here to find you. And having a home is very important. It sure is. Kevin Bell works with me on various things. He's with Catholic Social Services. He helps you with transportation, helps you with paperwork and forms you need, helps you file stuff. And he's a sounding board too.
We have a group called Grocery Group that goes out 2 times a month, and we provide transportation for that. We are also will provide transportation to medical and doctor appointments.
Tara Weedbush. She's Avalon Housing. She's always attempted to try to do anything to help me. Phone calls, whatever I ask her.
My role with the tenants in Avalon is to provide just a variety of case management services, such as connection to community resources, budgeting, help with money management, any type of assistance with benefits or entitlements, any other type of personal things that might come up too. We have a food pantry where some food items are available to folks. We also have activities that we plan. We have barbecues, we have, days at the park, we have shopping trips.
What we really want is to see individuals flourish. They're able to feel as if they're part of a larger mission, part of a larger community, and they have less of a tendency to isolate themselves than they would in an apartment that was simply affordable but not attached to services. Empowering tenants to become more independent.
Usually when you go into public housing and affordable housing, it's just one big building where everybody goes. Here we have different small homes where you don't feel as though you're stigmatized by a big sign posted outside your door that says affordable housing. You feel as though you're within this community with everyone else in the city of Ann Arbor.
We have a 24/7 crisis line. So if an individual is experiencing a psychotic break or if an individual is feeling suicidal, our first line that we put in place is to call the hotline first. We assess that, we problem solve with them, we make sure that they're safe, but if they're not, we provide transportation immediately to psychiatric emergency services. But oftentimes we're able to problem solve because we have that rapport and that relationship with the individual. If we weren't in that position, they would call the police, you'd have to pay for the police to come out, you'd have to pay for HVA, an ambulance to come out to pick them up, and if they weren't able to problem solve, these people have no relationship with these clients. They'd probably just assume that they needed emergency care.
I think supportive housing is a way to end homelessness, and Avalon has proven that by serving hundreds of people now in our 19 years who have been homeless and are now housed and more stable and more productive, going back to work, being a productive part of the community.
Avalon Housing has been a godsend.
A foxhole with two individuals in it, you suddenly learn that brotherhood is utmost more important than personalities and race, creed, and colors, because you got to depend on that brother to pull you through.
And whoever invented Avalon Housing, whether it was one person or a group of people, it's some thoughtful people.